Okay, so I think I've got a good understanding now of the importance of having a budget, figuring out that I can pay my contractual bills, that I'm getting that rent money in on time, that I'm taking care of my debt, that I'm working at trying to put some money aside, save some money. And now I'd like to really look at the more kind of exciting part of investing, looking at stocks, bonds, whatever. What are some of my options out there aside from just some of the very safe ones that you talked about before?
Well, what you're saying is you've sort of maximized a lot of the initial things we need. You have a good cash cushion. You're maybe currently investing in your company-sponsored 401k. So you're getting probably some equity exposure, some stock exposure there. But you have these excess funds that you want to achieve a higher return, and thinking you have a longer time horizon, how do you best go forward? To me, I think it's very important to really focus on level of diversification you have for all your investments. And this really should incorporate all the different facets of your investments. If you have cash in the bank, that should be accounted for. That is an investment. That's an asset. It's a very stable, very safe investment, very low returning. If you own some mutual funds in a 401k, those are some stocks. You should look at that. Now, if we're looking to buy additional risk investments, to what percentages and how much should we have? To me, again, it comes back to where you are within your planning. If you've achieved most of your shorter term and intermediate term goals, well, then you can maybe take on more risk. Now, the old rule of thumb was your age minus 100 should tell you how much your total portfolio should be in equities. So if I was 25 years old, 100 minus 25 would be 75% up into equities. Now, in that regard, you could have a very aggressive portfolio if, again, all the other things in place to build that portfolio. Now, if we want to go to equity investments, we talked about diversification. You got a cash cushion, you have fixed assets, that's maybe part of your 25%, and that 75% should really focus on how is it done. We really encourage you to consider the different aspects of investments, the more stable or large capitalization, the blue chip type names should be a centerpiece of the portfolio, an important part. Those generally are the Exxons and the IBMs of the world. Then you can maybe add some more aggressive type investments if it's a small capitalization, more emerging companies that maybe will offer maybe a little more volatility but expected higher returns. And then international investing. Blending that all together for all your investments and taking into account that your investments are properly diversified is extremely important. And looking at a total is something we strongly encourage. At times people might just look at their 401k and forget the other investments they have. Or they might have investments on the side and don't consider the 401k or other investments. And we think it's really important. It should be the complete picture. So getting that proper level of diversification, I think, is extremely important.
Working at the library, as I do, I know that we do have a lot of resources at the library, ranging from books, websites, the newspaper, all sorts of ways you can read up on stocks and bonds and making investments. But anything particular you might recommend about, and I'll just throw myself out there as an example. I'm not an intuitive investor, if there even is such a thing. So where can I go for help? Who can help me?
Well, there's a lot of different sources of help. I really encourage people to help themselves first. And there's a lot of resources, and the internet offers significant amount of educational opportunities on investments, library as well as other sources and other books that really help you understand the basics of investment. And I really encourage people to have a knowledge. And some people enjoy it, other people dread it. And I encourage the people who dread it to still try to learn. Use the opportunities to figure out, to ask questions. Being a wise consumer. Because when you're investing, you're giving your money to an institution or to an individual or to somebody. You should know where that's going and how it's going. It doesn't mean you have to know how every I is dotted and how every T is crossed, but understanding the basics is very important. So there's so many sources to learn. If you do work with somebody, there's a multitude of people or professionals to work with. There's investment planners, there's investment analysts, we're direct investors. At our firm, we work with our clients directly, and we manage their money for them. We buy individual stocks and bonds. We really encourage our clients to ask questions, what we're doing and how we do it. And we see our clients sort of grow in knowledge based upon what we do. I think good professionals really encourage their clients to be active participants versus somebody who just says, don't ask questions. I think most professionals are very comfortable with the idea of explaining, why does this make sense for you and why does this work? So from our standpoint, it's really important to ask questions, to make an investment in your education about sound financial principles and the opportunities that are out there between people and between resources to really utilize that. If you are looking to work with somebody because you feel like, boy, this is just too much for me to understand, or I don't have the time to do it, I really encourage people to focus on relying on recommendations of a trusted individual. If it's a relative or a friend who would say, I work with this person and this is what they bring to the table. This is what they're good at. That's the best way. There's a lot of good salespeople out there. There's a lot of people who claim certain things or say certain things. But finding somebody who utilizes, if it's a planner or an investment manager as ourselves, some of our best referrals are coming from our own clients, where people will tell a friend or tell a relative that this person is good at this is how they work. For your situation, this would be a good person to work with. And that will also lead you down a path to get you, I guess, the right information to help you make these decisions as you go forward.
Okay. I love your advice, though, about learning more about it and to maybe not be kind of scared about it. I mean, I think of myself, when I got a dog, I had to research all the dogs. When I bought a car, I had to research all the cars. But somehow, money has this mystique for some of us, not all. And I would think, too, that especially for people in their 20s and 30s today who really grew up on computers and the internet and everything else, that it's even maybe kind of fun to get out there and learn more and do some even investing. I know people sometimes can even buy stocks themselves, right?
Yes, they can. And it's become a lot easier in the last 20 or 30 years. There's also been development of investment products that I think are demystify or create instant diversification. Low cost mutual funds that are index-based products. What we mean by that is the S&P 500 is one of the most widely quoted large cap index for the U.S. It owns 500 companies in it, and it represents a very broad base. It's used as an index. Well, we can buy the S&P 500 in a mutual fund or in an exchange-traded fund, which is sort of the next wave of mutual funds. Is an exchange-traded fund, which is again, you would own a representation of all 500 companies. It's almost instant diversification in one investment. Those types of things, there's so much information on the internet. Certain companies that focus on these types of things really offer a great educational series on that. So from that standpoint, it really allows people to learn, versus maybe 20 or 30 years ago, the resources of that might have been only the library. And now the library plus the internet plus other advisors that do these types of things, there's a significant amount of information. If you're looking to buy individual securities, the opportunity if on the internet, discount brokerage firms, again, make it very simple to set up an account, makes the cost very low. There's been a huge focus in the last 15 years on bringing the trading costs or the management costs or the fees associated with that down to a very low level, which really allows anybody to do it efficiently, effectively, to diversify a portfolio without paying a lot of money to do so.
Well, it sounds doable. It sounds exciting. It sounds like a great idea. And we'll be back to talk more about investing in your 20s and 30s. Thank you.